Have you ever poured your entire heart into someone, believing they were your forever, only to have that trust shattered into a million pieces? This is the story of Leo and Clara, a story of a love so deep it felt like destiny, and a betrayal so sharp it cut to the bone. Leo wasn't the kind of guy who fell in love easily. He was a quiet soul, an artist who saw the world in shades of light and color that most of us miss. He found his muse not on a canvas, but in a small, bustling coffee shop. Her name was Clara. She had a laugh that could chase away the darkest clouds and eyes that held a universe of stories. From the moment he saw her, his world, once a monochrome sketch, burst into vibrant color. Their first few months were a whirlwind romance, like a scene from a classic movie. They spent late nights talking under starry skies, sharing dreams and fears they'd never voiced to anyone else. Leo would paint her for hours, trying to capture the way the light danced in her hair, the subtle curve of her smile. He wasn't just painting her image, he was painting his love, his devotion, his very soul onto the canvas. He gave her everything he was, holding nothing back. His friends would joke that he was whipped, but Leo knew it was more than that. It was a connection he believed was once in a lifetime. He found his home in her. One evening, celebrating their first anniversary, he gave her a small, hand-carved wooden box. Inside wasn't a ring or expensive jewelry, but a locket. Engraved on it were the coordinates of the coffee shop where they first met. Inside, a tiny, folded piece of paper read, "You are my true north." Clara's eyes welled up with tears as she hugged him, whispering, "And you are mine, Leo. Always." For Leo, that moment was a promise, a sacred vow sealed not with words, but with a feeling of absolute certainty. He truly believed their love was unbreakable. But slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, things began to change. Clara started working late more often. The late-night talks became shorter, her replies to his texts more delayed. When he'd ask if everything was okay, she'd flash that brilliant smile and say, "Just busy with work, silly." "Don't worry." Leo, ever trusting, pushed his doubts aside. He loved her. He trusted her. He told himself he was just being insecure. He wanted to be the supportive partner she deserved, so he doubled his efforts. He'd cook her favorite meals, leave little notes in her work bag, and plan surprise weekend getaways, all in an attempt to bridge a distance he couldn't quite understand. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. It was a gray, rainy day that mirrored the growing storm inside Leo's heart. He had finished a new painting, his masterpiece, a portrait of Clara that he felt truly captured her essence. He wanted to surprise her at her office. He bought her favorite lilies and practically skipped to her building, the rain unable to dampen his excitement. He imagined her face lighting up, the way she would throw her arms around him. But when he arrived, her secretary told him Clara had left early for a client dinner. A knot of dread tightened in his stomach. He remembered Clara mentioning a new restaurant she wanted to try. On a gut feeling, a desperate hope to prove himself wrong, he went there. And that's when his world came crashing down. Through the rain-streaked window, he saw her. She was sitting at a candlelit table, laughing that beautiful laugh he adored. But she wasn't alone. Across from her sat a man, and she was holding his hand across the table. It wasn't a business dinner. The intimacy, the shared glances, the gentle way he brushed a stray hair from her face, it was all there. It was everything that had once belonged to him. Leo stood frozen on the pavement, the rain mixing with the tears he didn't realize were falling. The lilies slipped from his hand, their white petals scattering on the wet, black asphalt. He couldn't breathe. It felt as if the air had been punched from his lungs. The locket he'd given her, the one she wore every single day, was still around her neck. "You are my true north," it said. A bitter, hollow laugh escaped his lips. His true north had been pointing in another direction all along. He didn't confront them. He couldn't. He simply turned and walked away, each step heavier than the last. He walked for hours, with no destination, the city lights blurring into a meaningless smear of color. The man who saw beauty in everything now saw only gray. When he finally got back to his apartment, the portrait of Clara was sitting on the easel, illuminated by the moonlight. He looked at the smiling face on the canvas, the woman he thought he knew, the woman he had given his entire heart to. He saw a stranger. That night, Leo learned the cruelest lesson of all, that sometimes the person you take a bullet for is the one behind the trigger. Love, in its purest form, requires a leap of faith. But betrayal teaches you that sometimes there's no ground to catch you when you fall. It's a pain that doesn't just break your heart, it changes your very composition. It reshapes your understanding of trust, of loyalty, and of yourself. In the weeks that followed, Leo existed in a fog. He packed away everything that reminded him of her. The photos, the gifts, the half-finished paintings. He even threw out the wooden box that once held the locket. He couldn't bring himself to paint. How could he create beauty when all he felt was ugliness? His friends tried to reach out, but he pushed them away, building a wall around his shattered heart. He was drowning in a silence that was louder than any scream. But one morning, as the sun streamed through his window, something shifted. He looked at the blank canvas in the corner of his studio. For the first time in months, he didn't see an empty space, he saw a possibility. He picked up a piece of charcoal. His hands, which had felt so foreign and useless, began to move. He didn't paint a face or a landscape. He sketched chaos. He sketched storms, jagged lines, and dark, swirling voids. He poured all his pain, his anger, and his heartbreak onto the canvas. It was raw, it was messy, and it was honest. And in that act of creation, he found a glimmer of release. He realized that his art, the very thing he had shared so freely with her, was not just for her. It was his. It was his voice, his sanctuary, his path to healing. The betrayal didn't destroy his ability to create. It had, in a twisted way, given him a new, deeper palette of emotions to draw from. He started painting again, not for anyone else, but for himself. His new work was different. It was darker, more complex, but it was also more powerful. It told a story of pain, yes, but also of resilience. Leo's story isn't just about betrayal. It's about what happens after. It's about finding yourself when you feel completely lost. It's about understanding that someone else's actions do not define your worth. He gave Clara his heart, and she broke it. But a heart, even when shattered, can be pieced back together. The cracks may always be there, like the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The cracks don't weaken it, they become part of its history, a testament to the fact that it survived. Leo learned to find his own true north again, not in another person, but within himself. His art became his compass. And though the scar of betrayal remains, it no longer dictates his direction. It serves as a reminder of his own strength, his capacity to heal, and his ability to turn the deepest pain into the most profound beauty. If you've ever been through something similar, know that your story doesn't end with the heartbreak. It begins there. The journey back to yourself is long, but it is a journey worth taking. You are stronger than you think. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this space with me. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more stories about the human heart. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, take care.